A lot of people confuse value of money with value for money. Value of money simply refers to the purchasing power of money. So when you say value of money, so you're talking about the purchasing power. I mean, what is the value of the money I have in my pocket? What is the value of money I have in my bank account? What can it actually buy? Its purchasing power. Now that is value of money. On the other hand, when we talk about value for money, we are talking about the 3 E's. We're looking at economy, we're looking at efficiency, and we're looking at effectiveness. In other words, we're saying that when we spend this money, does it give us efficiency? Does it give us economy? And is it effective? Does it meet the goal, the objective for spending the money? Is it met? So having explained value of money, which is very easy, it is economics based. It has to do with purchasing power. Now I want us to look at value for money. Value for money, let's look at economy. What is economy? Economy is the cheapest possible price without compromising quality, without compromising standard. In other words, the quality and the quantity of what you buy, what you spend money for, must be appropriate to the point that you do not compromise standard. You do not compromise quality. So if you have supplier A, B, C, D, and all of them are offering you a product, a supply of the same specification, the same quality, the same quantity, which one is the cheapest out of them all? That's the one you go for. Now, efficiency. The money being spent, is there efficiency? How do you get efficiency? Efficiency, you are looking at input versus output. In other words, you are getting the maximum output from the input you have. So if, for example, in a teaching environment, you have 2 teachers, the first, and both of them are paid exactly the same salary, but one is teaching 10 students and the other is teaching 100 students. The one teaching 100 students is giving you the bigger output. So you can say that that money being spent is efficient. If you're talking about block making, for instance, cement blocks, you have 2 machines and all of them are getting the same input. The same resources, the same fuel, the same whatever. All the input they're getting remains the same, but the output of one is higher than the output of the other. Then you say that the one giving higher output is more efficient. This is efficiency. Now for effectiveness, we're talking about meeting the goals, the objective of spending that money. So if you have a problem of hunger, for instance, you don't go and build a bridge. When you build a bridge, the money spent is not effective because you have not met the objective of spending that money. And this is something that is very important, especially in our country, Nigeria, where we find governors building flyovers and bridges all the time because they feel that those projects will be good for their campaigns. They can say, I built 10 flyovers. So they are not looking at what the people actually need. So you're asking yourself, this public money that you are spending, is it effective? If people are hungry, if people need education, if they need hospitals, and you are not spending money for those things, but rather you are building bridges and flyovers where they are not needed, then we say that you spend that money in a manner that is not effective. So these are the 3 E's: efficiency, effectiveness, and economy. There's usually a 4th E, which I want to mention, which is called equity. Now, equity, which is the 4th E, when you talk about value for money, most times we forget it, but sometimes we remember it. For the 4th E, it is equity. Equity has to do with fairness. So you are asking, this money that was spent, was it spent equitably? Was it distributed in an equitable manner where it reaches everybody, or did it end up in the hands of only 1% of the population? So when you spend money equitably, it means you are able to spread it such that everybody benefits from it. So this is the difference between value for money and value of money. The next time you hear value of money, don't mix it up with value for money. Value of money is the purchasing power of money. Value for money has to do with the 3 or the 4 E's, which are efficiency, effectiveness, economy, and equity. So I want you to like, I want you to share this video with someone, and most importantly, subscribe to my channel. I am Echela Okori, the accounting and finance coach. I just wanted to drop this knowledge with you so we can all improve financial literacy in our society.